The lighting is crummy. Let me close these blinds. Much better. Okay, trade deadline right now. I'm Troy. This is the Half Court Report YouTube channel. Make sure you like this video. I got the comments open. Make sure you have, if you have any questions, make sure you get them in. I'll answer whatever I can. Let's see. Anybody watching? We have one whole person right now, but anybody watching, make sure you sub the channel, like the video. What's up to Heem Sleepy? How are you, Heem? Like I said, I got comments turned on. Get your questions in. About 20 minutes now until the NBA trade deadline is officially over. I have my Twitter turned on the World Wide Web. I'm gonna see if what Woj has for us. So anything, any breaking news, and boom, we just had one. Hawks trading Rajon Rondo to the Clippers for Lou Williams. Clippers will also send a second-round pick to the Hawks in the deal. So the Rajon Rondo experiment with the Atlanta Hawks did not work out for everybody involved. Did not work out. So let me update my rosters here. So if you've watched this channel before, I have all the rosters here on a little Word doc on my computer. So Rondo for Lou, Clips and Hawks. Everybody who's tuned in, if it's your first time here, make sure, if you're new, make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Like this video as well. This is just going to kind of be a free-flowing kind of video until the trade deadline is over. So appreciate you tuning in and watching today. Just kind of off the cuff. Maybe some awkward silences, but it'll be fun. Okay, so we've got Rondo going to the Clippers, and I think we can pretty much say this takes the Clippers out of any sort of any sort of potential deal for Lonzo Ball or Ricky Rubio or Kyle Lowry. Lou Williams, not a bad guy to add to the Hawks team for that extra scoring off the bench. Just imagine Trae Young and Lou Williams, if both of those guys are hot on a given night. Granted, Lou Williams hasn't had the best season this year, but his resume is a mile long, longer than my arm, and I got a long arm over here, folks. So we got Trae Young, Lou Will, Bogdanovich, Hunter, Collins, Capella, Gallinari. I mean, that's a solid team. That should be enough to make the playoffs in the East, I would think. Here's the question. Do you guys think Rondo is going to start over Patrick Beverley at the point guard spot for the Clippers? I don't necessarily think so. I think Rondo has lost a little bit of a step, but I like him as an extra playmaker. That's going to allow Paul George and Kawhi not to have to get the team into the offense so much. Let them focus on scoring and on defense. And Rondo can focus on, I guess, distributing the ball and getting mad at people in the parking lot who park too close to his car. Let's look at some of these. Before we look at some of the other trades, let's see if there's anything else that Woj has reported. No. Okay. One thing he does mention, well, this is for another trade, but Matt Thomas, Jazz, this for a second-round pick, this opens up an extra roster spot if they need to consummate any sort of Kyle Lowry deal. Speaking of Toronto, they've also traded away Norman Powell. He is now going to the Blazers for Rodney Hood and Gary Trent Jr., who Gary Trent, I think, he's having such a good year. I mean, not good enough for sixth man of the year, but really, really solid season. Not sponsored by Coke Zero, but I will be partaking. And hold on. Okay. Other trades. The biggest trades so far today have been involving the Orlando Magic. They've made 3 trades. They have traded away 3 of their starters, and they are going into full-on tank mode. And I mean it, like, gosh, full-on tank mode. The first trade they did, Nikola Vucevic and Al-Farouq Aminu to the Chicago Bulls for Wendell Carter Jr., Otto Porter Jr., and two first round picks, Junior. The first one is a 2021 pick, top 4 protected. So assuming Chicago doesn't just poop the bed for the rest of the season, they will convey that pick to Orlando, which means Orlando would probably have a pick, you would think top 3, and then probably somewhere around 15, 16, 17 range if the Bulls make the playoffs. They also have that 2023 first round pick. The next trade they did, they sent Evan Fournier to the Boston Celtics for 2 second round picks, which I think is a really good deal for Boston. Danny Ainge finally made a trade. They're able to take Fournier and his $18 million salary into that trade exception that they got from the Gordon Hayward deal to Charlotte. Got a question. Kyle Lowry goes where? We'll get into that in a second. If he were to go anywhere, you would think Philly, but Philly just made a trade for George Hill. We'll get to that in a second. So that leaves who? The Lakers, but the Lakers could put together a package of KCP, Marc Gasol, and Schroeder for Kyle Lowry. Does Toronto want to do that? I don't know. So then the third Magic trade was with the Denver Nuggets. They traded Aaron Gordon and Gary Clark to Denver for Gary Harris, R.J. Hampton, and a 2025 first. So from these 3 trades today, the Chicago Bulls have gotten Wendell Carter Jr., who will be their starting center. So just imagine, now you've got that core of Markelle Fultz, Cole Anthony, Wendell Carter Jr., Jonathan Isaac, and Chumo Kiki, of course. And R.J. Hampton. R.J. Hampton, probably have him part of the core as well, because I think he's going to be a really good player. And they've gotten so many picks today as well. Bulls also made another trade. In addition to Vucevic, they traded away Daniel Gafford and Chandler Hutchison to the Washington Wizards for Troy Brown Jr. and Mo Wagner, which I think is another good trade. I'll go through those rosters in a second. Then we also have a small deal of Sacramento and the Miami Heat, Nemanja Bjelica to Miami for How Could You Be Mo Harkless, and Chris Silva going to the Kings. Another minor deal this morning, JaVale McGee to the Nuggets for Isaiah Hartenstein and 2 seconds. There was the deal last night of, almost called him Darrell Wright, DeLon Wright to the Sacramento Kings for Corey Joseph, Canada's finest, along with 2 second-round picks. I really like DeLon Wright's game when he had that cup of coffee with the Grizzlies and he had 2 or 3 triple-doubles in a row. I think he's a talented player. I don't really know where he fits in with the Kings since they have Buddy Hield, Tyrese Halliburton, and De'Aaron Fox, but I do like him in a vacuum. And then a 3-team trade today with Oklahoma City, the Sixers, and the New York Knicks. Hashtag Knicks for clicks. Got to talk about the Knicks. the Thunder send George Hill and wait, what did I write down? Oh, I know what it was. George Hill goes to the Sixers. Iggy Brasdeikis from the Knicks goes to the Sixers as well. Then Tony Bradley and Austin Rivers go to the Thunder, and Terrence Ferguson, the Thunder who drafted him, they didn't want him in this trade. He goes to the Knicks. The Thunder also ended up getting some second-round picks from this deal. Check this out. The Thunder now have 34 picks over the next 7 years. They have 17 first-round picks and 17 second-round picks over the next 7 years. So what this says to me, and what it should say to you, the Thunder are primed to make some sort of huge deal for a superstar. Because we saw it with Paul George. We saw it with James Harden. Saw it with Anthony Davis. Lots of picks involved. Lots of pick swaps that could be involved. And the Thunder are now really, really primed to make some noise later on because they have SGA as their cornerstone. Besides that, probably, well, I don't know about probably, but Alexei Pokusevski, who I did a video about him on this channel months and months ago. I was one of the first YouTubers talking about Pokusevski. He's pretty good. You also have Lou Dort, who, when I see that guy on the floor, he looks like a monster out there. He's huge. For like a 6'3" dude, he's built like a tank. I really like Lou Dort's game. If he can improve his shooting a little bit, that would do wonders for him. So the Thunder, they just have a bunch of young guys that they're hoping a few of these pan out. It could be Ty Jerome. It could be Theo Maledon. It could be Svi Mikhailuk. It could be Isaiah Roby. It could be maybe Darius Baisley. They have Justin Jackson. They have Tony Bradley now. Moses Brown, who, if you don't know about Moses Brown, I need to do a video on this guy. Last night, he's a 7'2" dude who played for UCLA a couple seasons ago. Last night, he got, I think his double-double was like 19 and 14. And he was the fastest Thunder player to ever get a double-double. He got it with like 4 minutes left in the second quarter. The dude just swallows rebounds. He's got a field goal percentage of like 60-something%. I really like him. He's on a two-way deal. I would not be surprised if they convert his two-way deal to a full-time deal before the end of the season, very similar to what they did to Lou Dort last year. Okay, going to take a break to say, everybody who's watching right now, thanks for tuning in. My name is Troy. I do basketball videos like this all the time. Something special today to do a live feed because of the trade deadline. If it's your first time here, make sure you are subscribed to this channel, like this video. We're close to 13,000 subscribers on this channel. Would love to have you be a part of the NBA community that we have going on here. Okay, still no new trades being updated. The last one is Rajon Rondo to the Clippers for Lou Williams. Oh, I just thought about that. Lou Williams played for the Hawks for a few years. Remind me, maybe somebody in the comments if you know, was that one of the years that Lou Williams got his 6th Man of the Year award with Atlanta? Oh, and Lou Williams loves Atlanta because remember, he got in trouble in the NBA bubble for going to that strip club in Atlanta and leaving health and safety protocols in the bubble to do that because they've got like the hot wings named after him. Yeah, so Lou is back in the ATL. How funny is that? Yeah, lemon pepper wings for playoff Rondo. Funny. Rondo has had quite the fall from grace. This is a former All-Star. Dude who used to get triple doubles all the time, and he's been injured a lot this year. I don't know how many games he's played offhand, but it's not a whole lot, and he's averaging 5 or 6 points per game. So I think this is just kind of a swing for the fences kind of move for the Clippers to try to get this deal done. Okay, so we have about 10 minutes left as of right now. No Kyle Lowry trade, no Lonzo Ball trade. They are the two biggest names that have yet to be traded, that are in trade discussions, if you will. Let's see, who else? Let's look at what this new Chicago Bulls lineup looks like with all the trades that they've made today, and then we'll look at the Orlando Magic lineup with all the trades that they've made today. So let's look at Chicago first. Okay. Any Aaron Gordon news? Yes, Aaron Gordon was traded to the Denver Nuggets earlier today. Aaron Gordon was, along with Gary Clark, traded to the Nuggets for Gary Harris, RJ Hampton, and a 2025 first-round pick. So the Magic have traded away 3 starters today, Vucevic, Evan Fournier, and Eric Gordon. So let's look at what Chicago's new lineup looks like right now. There's still the rumors that Chicago wants Lonzo Ball. Could happen. I don't know. I feel like they'd have to maybe give up Kobe White to make that happen, but Chicago Bulls, now, if you're having Satoransky as the starter, he's the starter. Kobe White and Ryan Arcidiacono back him up. Zach LaVine at the 2-guard spot, backing him up. You got Denzel Valentine, Garrett Temple. You got Patrick Williams at the 3 spot. Troy Brown backs him up. Lauri Markkanen. I guess Lauri Markkanen could be part of the Lonzo Ball trade if it comes to that. I guess they're starting Thad Young now at the 4, and you have Lauri Markkanen, Al-Farouq Aminu, really solid bench for those guys. Then the center spot, Nikola Vucevic, Mo Wagner, Cristiano Felicio, and Luke Cornett of the Vanderbilt Commodores. So look at Chicago now. They've got an all-star in LaVine and in Vucevic, one of the youngest players in the league, and a really up-and-coming player in Patrick Williams. Lauri Markkanen, who I think is great as a 3rd or 4th option on this team. Thad Young, great glue guy, really good veteran. Mo Wagner can stretch the floor. Kobe White, who microwave scorer off the bench. Satoransky, just a good vet to have at that point guard spot. Garrett Temple, another veteran presence. Al-Farouq Aminu, hustle guy who's going to get you some rebounds, going to get a couple buckets by the basket, just going to play hard. Let's see. We just had something come in. Let's look and see if that is true. Let's see. We had a Lonzo rumor coming in. Let's see if what we have. Somebody just posted about a Lonzo Ball trade. I'm not seeing anything from Woj yet on that. Let's check Shams, see if he has anything. Nothing from Shams yet either. We'll I'll look once we get confirmation on that. Oh, we have another Toronto trade. They're trading Terrence Davis to Sacramento for a future 2nd-round pick. So this is really opening up lots of roster spots for Toronto. This says to me that a Kyle Lowry trade could very well be imminent, because Kyle Lowry, with such a huge salary, you're going to have to get back several players to make that deal work. So it would not surprise me in these next 5 to 10 minutes if we get a Kyle Lowry trade. The question is, who is that going to be for? We'll see, though. We shall see. Really big news on that front, though. Toronto has had such a rough season, and this really, this really says that they're going to be, I don't know if blowing it up is the right word, but they're not really going anywhere with the playoffs this year. Sad to say. So now let me update my roster. So now Terrence Davis going to the Sacramento Kings for a 2nd-round pick. Not bad value for Terrence Davis. This just gives Sacramento yet another guard. So many guards now for Sacramento. Sacramento now, their guard depth. De'Aaron Fox, Tyrese Halliburton, DeLon Wright, Terrence Davis, Buddy Hield, Jameis Ramsey, and then Kyle Guy as a two-way player. Half the team plays the 1 or the 2 spot. Barnes, who was rumored to be traded, Harrison Barnes still with Sacramento. They picked up Mo Harkless today. They picked up Kabengele a couple days ago. They've picked up Chris Silva now. They did trade away Nemanja Bjelica. Would not be surprised if they buy out Hassan Whiteside. I think he could help a team. You know, there were the rumors that they were looking to trade Marvin Bagley. Ugh, that was a terrible pick, am I right? Jabari Parker, they said, was on the trading block. When is he not? Marvin Bagley and Jabari Parker, they should start a podcast about two really underperforming number 2 picks. And just talk about they could have guests like Hashim Thabit. I don't know. I'm being stupid. Okay, any other news from Woj Woj? Nope, nothing as of yet. I am continuing to update my Twitter feed to see what's going to be happening. Okay, we got a few folks watching. Thanks to all the new folks who have tuned in. If you have any comments, make sure you drop those in the feed, and I'll answer any questions you have or give you my take on whatever. If it's your first time here, would love if you subscribe to this channel. My name is Troy. I love basketball and the NBA. I do videos like this all the time, and would really love for you to be a part of this Half Court Report YouTube channel that we have going on here. Make sure you like the video too. Cavs doing anything before the end of the deadline? The Cavs did trade. Hey, bruh. Good to see bruh. Bruh is a regular viewer of this channel. Appreciate his support. Is the deadline 2 minutes or 2 hours? I thought the deadline was at like 2 p.m. Eastern. Hold on. Let me check that real quick though. So to answer bruh's question about about if the Cavs have done anything, they traded JaVale McGee to the Denver Nuggets earlier today for a second-round pick. I don't really see them doing too much else. I don't see it. I don't know how a Kevin Love trade would happen. I know that there were maybe rumors that Jetty Osman might be on the move. I don't really see that happening. So the NBA trade deadline. What time is it in? Okay, 3 p.m. Eastern, so yeah, we are just a couple minutes away from the end of the trade deadline. But what does happen? Oh, Woj has said no Lonzo Ball trade. Lonzo Ball is staying in New Orleans. There is no Lonzo Ball trade. So Lonzo Ball is off the table. we also have not had a Victor Oladipo trade either, which I think is a little surprising. So even though the trade deadline ends at 2 o'clock, which is basically right now, for the next 15 to 20 minutes, any trades that teams are working on can be completed. So say, for instance, if the Raptors have a deal that they're working out with the Lakers to trade Kyle Lowry, they can inform the league office and say, hey, we've got a deal that's close to being done. We'll have this deal done. Kyle Lowry, as of yet, has not gotten traded, bruh. So they can call the league office and say, hey, we've got a deal in the works. We're going to have this done by 2:15, 2:30. So the way it is every trade deadline, you're going to have these deals trickling in for the next 15 or 20 minutes. So would not be surprised if we see maybe 1 or 2 more deals, especially a deal involving perhaps Victor Oladipo or Kyle Lowry, because those are, I think, two prime candidates to still be traded, especially with Toronto clearing out those roster spots for second round picks. Because if you look at Toronto right now, they only have what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 players under contract. So it's one of those things. Toronto could trade Kyle Lowry and get back 3 players and not have to cut anybody. They could trade Kyle Lowry and somebody like Paul Watson. What's up to Gabrielle? How are you doing? Thanks for tuning in. They could trade Kyle Lowry and another player and get back 4 guys and not have to cut anybody. So that's why I think a Kyle Lowry trade is still on the table. So my opinion on the Bulls after today, bruh asks, I think the Bulls, this definitely vaults them into the playoff conversation. I don't know if it puts them as a top 4 seed, but I really like what Vucevic can do as a playmaking big for this Chicago Bulls team. I love how now they have 2 All-Stars in Levine and in Vucevic. I love how I think that Vucevic is going to work really well with whether it's Lauri Markkanen or whether it's Thaddeus Young. Both of those guys are going to be good for his game. Billy Donovan, I think, is a really good coach, so I'm excited to see what kind of plays that they can run. Gabrielle hates that Holiday is on the Bucks. Well, yeah, I don't think that trade has worked out exactly as anybody had thought it would. But I think Chicago is a really, really deep team. They're not better than Milwaukee, Brooklyn, or Philly. They might not even be better than Miami. But I think after those 4 teams, Bruh says he spit out his cereal when Vucevic got traded. Yeah, funny. What cereal were you eating? Was it? I'm a big Honey Nut Cheerios Cinnamon Toast Crunch fan myself. And another guy said, does not look like the Grizzlies have made a trade today. I was kind of thinking maybe Gorgie Jang might get traded. I do think he'll get bought out now, though. I still love him getting traded to the Lakers for Marc Gasol and KCP that I mentioned before. Okay, just refreshing to see if we have any new trades from Woj, the Wojmeister. Anything from Woj? Still, I'm still thinking there might be a Kyle Lowry trade. Maybe I'm wrong. What do I know? I know that I feel like they want to. It's just going to be a matter of what they'd be able to get for him. This is interesting. I saw this from an hour ago. Danny Green's agent told him to expect to be traded. Who knows if that's going to happen? If so, they're running out of time to do it. So, yeah, no Grizzlies trades today, no Warriors trades today involving Kelly Oubre, who was rumored to potentially be on the move. No Victor Oladipo trade today. So, bruh says Cavs bought out Andre Drummond. And this another guy says Shams is saying JJ Reddick to the Mavericks. Yes. Pelicans are close on a deal to send JJ Reddick to the Dallas Mavericks. Yes, Trent went to the Raptors earlier for Norman Powell. Rodney Hood was also included in that trade to the Raptors. I think that's a good deal for the Raptors to do that. Okay, so yeah, Pelicans and JJ Reddick. Not exactly sure who the Mavericks would be sending in that trade. Perhaps somebody like James Johnson, maybe. But we shall see momentarily. Let's see, what does that look like for the Mavericks now? So if you have JJ Reddick. I don't think they would start him. I don't think they would start him at the 2. Probably still keep. Who do they have there now? Tim Hardaway or Josh Richardson? I always call him Jason Richardson. But you got Doncic running the point. Hardaway, Richardson, Porzingis, Powell, then JJ Reddick coming off the bench, along with Jalen Brunson, who I like a lot, Dorian Finney-Smith, who's not too bad, Maxi Kleber, not bad, Boban, Boban, Willie Cauley-Stein, who, he's a hustle guy, I guess. I've never been a huge Willie Cauley-Stein fan. Then everybody else, it's just Josh Green, still a young player. Tyrell Terry, young player. Trey Burke, he can give you 10 minutes at point guard if need be. James Johnson, another hustle guy. I would think that James Johnson would probably be the guy who's included in the trades. Is Edmund Sumner going to get traded? I don't think I've ever talked about Sumner on this channel. I don't know. What is he? He's like a third-string point guard for the Pacers. Who knows? Maybe Sumner can get a second-round pick. The Warriors have made a trade. Okay? The Warriors are sending. Are you ready for this? Hold on to your seats, your hats, whatever. The Warriors are trading Brad Wanamaker to the Hornets. And Shams doesn't say for who. But Brad Wanamaker Sugar, no longer with the Golden State Warriors. Warriors fans across the bay, I can hear them right now sighing. They're so upset that Brad Wanamaker and his less than stellar play is no longer in Golden State. So there you have it. Brad Wanamaker to the Hornets. How about that? Let's see. Still nothing regarding a Kyle Lowry trade. One of the viewers on here earlier mentioned that the Cavs are buying out Andre Drummond. Not a surprise there that he was basically a possible trade. I would expect him to sign to the Lakers. So the rich keep getting richer. Man, oh man. I would assume this Brad Wanamaker trade, he makes what, the veterans minimum. So, man, we got an Edmund Sumner stan on this feed. Who knew? Man, Mrs. Sumner, is that you? The Hornets now, Brad Wanamaker, adding to that point guard rotation. Yes, Drummond with the buyout, so we can go ahead and just write that in pen that he's going to be going to the Lakers. Man, what a front line that's going to be. Goodness gracious. Anthony Davis, Andre Drummond, the corpse of Marc Gasol, and Montrezl Harrell. Goodness gracious. Okay, hey, anybody watching, if it's your first time here, make sure you are subbed to the channel. I do NBA videos like this all the time. Would love to have you be a part of this YouTube channel that we got going on. Almost at 13,000 subscribers. DeMar DeRozan does look like he is staying in San Antonio, according to bruh. LaMarcus Aldridge also did not get traded. He'll probably get bought out and go to Miami. Someone asked about DeMarcus Cousins. The only news on DeMarcus Cousins is that nobody wants him. LV Prodigucci, pin that comment. I will say there's a 99% chance Drummond does not go to Brooklyn. I see him going to the Lakers. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong, but I'm not. He's going to the Lakers. He's not going to Brooklyn. If you're a Brooklyn fan, sorry about that, but you got Blake Griffin. Be happy with that. Andre Drummond will be going to the Lakers. That's what my sources say. That's what I believe to be the case. And I think that will be happening. All right. Any extra updates? Houston is trading Victor Oladipo to Miami. There we go. Houston trading Victor Oladipo to Miami. It is happening. We don't know as of yet who is involved in that trade, but Victor Oladipo going to Miami. Let's see if we can guess who might be in that trade. Victor Oladipo makes around $20 million, so you need to match up those salaries pretty closely. Would not surprise me if Iguodala is included in that trade. Would not surprise me if maybe a young guy like Precious Achiuwa is involved in that trade. Would not surprise me if Avery Bradley is maybe and I just saw a comment, Bradley. Would not surprise me if Avery Bradley is involved in that trade, perhaps even Kendrick Nunn. Tyler Hero is not going to be in that trade. Is it Iggy and Robinson? That's what Shadow X is telling me. And we just have news. Raptors are keeping Kyle Lowry. Kyle Lowry not getting traded. Raptors keeping Kyle Lowry. I think they were working the phones till the last minute. They could not find a trade that worked out for them. They're keeping Kyle Lowry. So let's see. Yeah, Hornets have made a lot of moves today. JJ Reddick, bringing in Wanamaker. Yeah. So yeah, it looks like Victor Oladipo. And since I follow a lot of Grizzlies stuff, Grizzlies are officially done. No trades for the Grizzlies. Yeah, waited all day just for Kyle Lowry to stay a Raptor. Any news about Lonzo? Lonzo is not getting traded. Pelicans have come out and said they are keeping Lonzo. Lonzo is not getting traded. Lonzo not getting traded. And Lowry not getting traded. Two of the big names. But Oladipo has gotten traded to Miami. Still waiting on the final the final workings of that deal. Never expected the Grizz to make any moves. I thought maybe they might trade at least Gorgie Jang. I don't know. That's kind of what I was thinking. So, what do you guys think about Victor Oladipo on the Miami Heat? I mean, do you think that vaults them into contention along with the Nets, the Sixers, and the Bucks? I kind of think it does. Yeah, Terrence Ross did not get moved. He was like the only guy that the Magic kept. If you haven't seen Terrence Ross's Twitter feed, check it out. He did that that meme from that Tom Hanks movie where he's kidnapped by the pirates, where the guy says, "I'm the captain now." It was kind of funny. So check out Terrence Ross's Twitter for that. Man, lots of trade movement going on today. Like, so much stuff just happening. Boom, 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 so quick today. So if indeed Victor Oladipo has gone to the Miami Heat, which it does look like he has, you got to think somebody like Iguodala is involved. You got to think probably Avery Bradley, and also a player maybe like Duncan Robinson. So that brings up a good point from another guy named Troy on the comments. Why didn't Miami just wait until the offseason to get Oladipo? Well, maybe they didn't have any interest in signing him this offseason. Maybe they didn't know what their cap situation was going to be like. That's potentially so. It could have been one of those things where, I mean, they obviously don't really have any use for Iguodala and Bradley, especially since they got Trevor Ariza, who I think is better than either of those guys at this point in his career, especially Iguodala. You've also got Bielitsa now as a guy who can stretch the floor, add more shooting. The Lakers did not trade anybody to answer that question. So Duncan Robinson is going to be up for a contract extension this summer. You got to think he's going to be wanting like at least $15 million per season, something like that. He's going to get paid. Duncan Robinson's going to get paid. So Miami, maybe they're like, well, I don't know that we want to pay Duncan Robinson that much. He's a guy who can shoot it a lot. He's a guy who is a good teammate, but do we want to pay $15 million for that? Whereas if you re-sign Victor Oladipo, maybe for something in that $20 million range, that's not a whole lot more, especially when you're giving up the contract of Avery Bradley and Andre Iguodala to do that. So I think that makes some sense. I really like this Miami team though now. Assuming they didn't give up Dragic in this deal, you have Dragic, Butler, Oladipo, Olynyk, and Bam Adebayo off the bench, Nemanja Bjelica, Precious Achiuwa, Kendrick Nunn, assuming he's not in the deal, Trevor Ariza. Really solid team right there. They're really good. Okay, here's the deal. Okay. Wow, this is a really good trade for Miami. Houston traded Victor Oladipo to Miami for Avery Bradley, Kelly Olynyk, and a draft swap. Okay, so wow, that's a really good deal for Miami. That's a really good deal. So they, really good deal for Miami. Kelly Olynyk, sure he can shoot the ball, but he doesn't give you a whole lot else, you know? He's not really known as like a huge defender. Troy Kostasek, he really hits the nail on the head. That's a steal for Oladipo. Even if Oladipo, Jordan says Victor's not a good player anymore. Okay, maybe he's not an all-star, but he's averaging like 18, 20 points a game with Houston. He was averaging about that same thing with with Indiana. So, okay, what you're doing is you're comparing him to the type of player he once was. So, yeah, he's not an all-star anymore. Miami doesn't need him to be an all-star. They have guys in Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo who can do that. Victor Oladipo as a third option on a team? Listen to what I'm saying. Victor Oladipo as a third option on a team. This is a guy who was the first option with Indiana, and they were a really good team. Now he's the third option on Miami. Listen to this Miami roster right now, okay? Listen to this Miami roster. They still have Goran Dragic, who himself is a former All-Star, but can still give you 15 points a night. Jimmy Butler, I think one of the most underrated players in the league. Bam Adebayo, awesome. Duncan Robinson, who can shoot lights out. Iguodala and Trevor Ariza, who, Iguodala especially not the type of player he used to be, but those guys can lock down players in the regular season, especially in the playoffs. Imagine playing the Lakers in the finals. You're going to have Iguodala. Oladipo got traded to Miami, Will Huff, for Kelly Olynyk and Avery Bradley and a pick swap. So you're going to have the defense of Iguodala and Ariza off the bench. You're going to have the defense of Jimmy Butler. Oladipo, still a pretty solid defender. You've still got Kendrick Nunn coming off the bench too. How Iguodala doesn't get playing time? Yeah, I know, because he's terrible, but he's on the team if you need him. How does Houston not get Kendrick Nunn or Duncan Robinson or Precious Achiuwa in this deal? How? I don't understand it. How does that not happen? Oh gosh, Houston, this team. You've got you have Christian Wood and nobody else. Like That's why I need my cricket sound effects. Houston, John Wall. You want to talk about players who aren't who they used to be? John Wall. You got John Wall. You got Eric Gordon, who's out and is pretty ineffective anyway. You've got DJ Augustine, who's meh. You've got Dante Exum, meh. You've got Jashawn Tate, okay. Who's he? Like your second best player on the team now? You've got DJ Wilson, You've got Kenyon Martin's son, Daniel House. You've got Kevin Porter Jr. Well, I guess Kevin Porter Jr. is their second best player now. This is Houston's team. These are their three best players. Christian Wood, Kevin Porter Jr., and what's his face? Jashawn Tate. And I guess you could put John Wall in there, but gosh, how long till John Wall? Can they just buy out John Wall right now, please? Guys, I need you to, if it's your first time here, we got a lot of folks tuning into the channel right now. If it's your first time here, make sure you are subbed to this channel. Make sure you like this video. I don't usually do live videos. Usually it's pre-produced content. Wall and Wood are so screwed. They really are. When Christian Wood signed with Houston, he was like, wait a second, I should have just stayed in Detroit if this was the team I was going to get. Goodness gracious. Sub to the channel if it's your first time here. Like the video. Would love for you to be a part of this channel. Let me update these rosters to reflect the new trades that have been happening. Gosh, how angry is Avery Bradley gonna be now? Goodness. Very similar to a couple years ago. He was traded to the Grizzlies back when they were especially terrible at the trade deadline, and he played like 10 games, and the Grizzlies were just like, go ahead and get out of here. Let's, hold on, I just saw a notification about another potential trade. Let's see. Yes, Golden State Warriors have traded Marquis Chris. I think we will buy out Gorgie Jing from the Grizzlies, yes. Golden State has traded Marquis Chris to the Spurs, probably for maybe a second-round pick or something, maybe cash. It's more of a luxury tax move because the Warriors were, their salaries were getting so high up there that they had to make some sort of move. They're like $40 million in luxury tax payments, so any little bit helps. I mean, granted, it's the Bay, but you can't be paying that much if you don't have to, especially for an injured player. Oh, man, so much movement. Oh, we got another trade. Mo Wagner. Well, that time in Chicago was short. He's getting traded to the Celtics for Daniel Tice. Okay. I like that move for the Celtics. Gives them some extra size. I think it would probably open up more minutes for Robert Williams III, for Time Lord. Yeah, the Spurs actually making a trade. When was the last time they made an in-season trade? It's been like 20 years, right? And they do it for an injured guy. But yeah, Marquis is injured and he's on the last year of his deal. I think he's out for the season, so this is mainly just like a salary dump kind of move. They may end up waiving him, and I'm not sure. This really does, back to the Celtics Bulls trade. This really opens up minutes for Robert Williams III, who they really, really like, to take over full-time at center. But Daniel Tice, he's a good player. He's going to be good for the Bulls. Man, so much movement. Hard to keep track of it all. So much going on. We'll, I'll stay on here for a bit longer until we make sure everything is done for. But, wow. Thanks everybody for tuning in. We got lots of people watching the channel right now. Make sure you sub. Make sure you like this video. I love the NBA. I love sharing my knowledge and my thoughts about the NBA with you guys. This channel's been around for a little over a year and one of the fastest growing NBA channels on YouTube, and really appreciate all the support and helping me to get to this point. I I've got some more content in the works that I'm really excited about for you guys. Just had a comment. Wagner. He's really going to ball out with the Celtics, and I think that's the case. And I think it's good that they have that other big man to add to the Celtics rotation. Granted, they lost Tice, but Uziel Cian wants a shout out. What's up, Uziel Cian? Good to see you. Shout out to Uziel. Do your friends call you Uzi? That is the question. I would call you Uzi personally. Hope you're having a good day, Uziel. Uziel, what kind of what kind of name is that? Where are you from? Yes, Oladipo got traded. He is going to Miami for Kelly Olynyk and Avery Bradley, which is a complete heist. Yes, the Warriors do look to be keeping Kelly Oubre. Let me add in about Kelly Olynyk. I just realized I never updated my my rosters from the PJ Tucker trade the other day. So Houston now. John Wall, Eric Gordon, Daniel House. Oh, Rockets fan, you'll love this. John Wall, Eric Gordon, Daniel House, Christian Wood, DJ Wilson. Is that the starting lineup? Off the bench, DJ Augustine, Dante Exum, Deshaun Tate, David Nawaba, Kenyon Martin's son, Kelly Olynyk, Justin Patton. I guess you have you're gonna have Kevin Porter as the starter over Gordon, but Porter is dealing with an injury, just like Gordon is dealing with an injury too. Then Avery Bradley, who's just gonna spend the rest of the season just rocking back and forth in the fetal position because he just cannot seem to get on a good team at all. How the Rockets fan who just commented, how long until you guys are back to relevance? That's the question. Granted, you're going to get a really good pick. I would probably go for Evan Mobley. I think an Evan Mobley, Christian Wood front court would be really good. You know, might take you 5 years, but gosh, it's better than DJ Wilson. Oh man, wow, so many trades. Let's do one last check, see if we've gotten anything new. Okay, so officially the JJ Reddick trade. He was sent to Dallas. Nikola Melli from the Pelicans sent to New blah, blah, blah. Can't talk words good. JJ Reddick to Dallas. Nikola Melli to that's why I'm reading it wrong. JJ Reddick and Nikola Melli to Dallas. Don't know what New Orleans has gotten back yet though in that trade. Yes, Vucevic traded to Chicago. Appreciate that comment. In other news, we landed on the moon back in the 60s as well. I'm just kidding. Yes, the Vucevic trade happened very early this morning. Let's just do a rundown of some of the trades from already today, and then we'll probably... No Laker trades today. Then we'll probably call it a day. Vucevic and Aminu to the Bulls. Aminu acid. Vucevic and Aminu to the Bulls for Wendell Carter Jr., Michael Porter Jr., 2 picks. Evan Fournier from the Magic to the Celtics for 2 seconds. Aaron Gordon and Gary Clark from the Magic to the Nuggets for Gary Harris, RJ Hampton. Bulls and Wizards, Daniel Gafford and Chandler Hutchison to the Wizards for Troy Brown Jr. and Mo Wagner. He went to the Bulls. Mo Wagner has since been traded to the Boston Celtics for Daniel Tice. No Hornets trades today to answer that question. The Thunder, Sixers, and Knicks did a 3-team deal. George Hill, Iggy Brasdeikis to the Sixers. Tony Bradley, Austin Rivers to the Thunder. Terrence Ferguson to the Knicks. The Thunder got some picks in that deal as well. They now have 34 picks over the next 7 years. Can you believe that? 34 over the next 7 years. Raptors made several deals. They traded Norman Powell to the Blazers for Rodney Hood and Gary Trent. The Raptors also traded Matt Thomas to Utah for second-round picks, and they traded Terrence Davis to, I forget who because I didn't write it down, but also for a pick. Kings and Pistons made a deal. This was last night. DeLon Wright to the Kings for Corey Joseph and picks. Cavs and Nuggets made a deal. JaVale McGee to the Nuggets for Isaiah Hartenstein and 2 second-round picks. Deadline is over. Yes, the deadline is over. Kings and Heat made a picks. Made a trade. Nemanja Bjelica to the Heat for Mo Harkless and Chris Silva going to the Kings. Miami also made a trade with Houston. Victor Oladipo going to Miami for Kelly Olynyk and Avery Bradley, plus a pick swap. Rajon Rondo went to the Clippers. Lou Williams went to the Hawks in that trade. And except from JJ Reddick and Nikola Melli went to the okay, here we go. Nikola Melli and JJ Reddick went to Dallas for James Johnson, Wesley Iwundu, and a second-round pick. So the Mavericks now have some extra shooters in JJ Reddick and Nikola Melli to help spread the floor around Kristaps Porzingis and a guy you may have heard of named Luka Doncic. Guys, that's what I've got for you today. Thanks for tuning in. My name is Troy. If it's your first time here, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you like this video. We are growing this channel like gangbusters. Almost at 13,000 subscribers. Would love your support and would love for you to come along on this NBA journey with me. That is all I've got for today. Thanks so much for tuning in.